Now sound like an Apple podcast where it's like all the series are going off
Yeah, I know.
everywhere.
Told me to too, but that one caught it. So
Sorry about that. Anyway, all right, Ricky. Well, hey, listen, thanks for joining us, spending some time with us. So real quick question.
mm,
Just looking through your Instagram, I one of the questions that popped into my head is, what is your favorite holiday?
it's I definitely have to say Halloween.
I was thinking that because I was looking at all the outfits and I was like, this guy is like into it, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
there for it.
Halloween has always been my favorite. Christmas is like a close second, but when it comes down to it, Halloween is just more of like a right. I get to use my creativity more with Halloween. Because I love to like make my own costumes, make my costumes for the kids. So it just allows me to be more creative when the
Okay, first of all, two questions.
uh,
You make your costumes, or you make most of your costumes? Is what you're saying?
I make most of them, depending on what they want to be. So like last year, I don't know if you noticed, but like last year I did a Barbie movie theme with my daughters,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't able to find the President Barbie dress for my youngest. So I ended up making hers. Um, but for the first 2 years of like the first Halloweens for my old other two, I made their first costume too. I don't know. It just depends on like what's available and what I have in mind. If I think I can make it, I try it and I do it. Um, but I've always dabbled in costume making. It's always just been like a hobby, I guess, of mine. You like for
Where does that come from? You just saw something on TV and you're like, hey, I let me try my hand at this and see how far I can get.
Pretty much. Like I don't know exactly where it started. Well, actually, I think the first memory I have of like sewing is with my mom when I
Mm-hmm.
was a child. I remember there was a project we had to do, and they were little like doll stick, those little stick hangers. I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're not hangers, clothespins. They're clothespin dolls we had to do for a project at school. I was like fourth grade, fifth grade, and my mom helped me sew little outfits for them to put on. And I think I've like never been trained in sewing or anything. I kind of just get an idea in my head and I throw a pattern together and I go at it. So it's just fun for me.
So Project Runway in your future then,
I
as an amateur?
no, I don't think I'm that great. Um, but
Are you the guy to call for the quinceañera?
uh, no, um, no, I don't know.
He's just
I
like, no.
need to do more stuff like that when I have time to. Um,
Well, listen, your girls are going to be that age in the future, so I need you to start working on that.
yeah, no, I definitely will. Like if they want it, of course I'll do it for them. Um,
So what's the strategy for Halloween? Do you ask the family, hey, what do we want to do, and then you start thinking about the concept? And I'm gonna tell you why after you answer that question.
so yeah, actually we talk about it. It depends on what we want to do. So I know you asked like my hubby, but he and I are separated. We actually are almost divorced. But we're a bit
Okay.
friendly. We're in a good place. But uh, every year, yeah, we talk to the kids. We ask them what they want to be, what we want to do. So depending on what their answer is, we kind of start getting ideas. Um, like this year for me and my daughters, we're kind of thinking a wicked thing. Um,
Okay.
so depending on what I find out there, I will either purchase the costume or make it myself. Um, and then my son usually goes along with my husband and his new partner, and they do a thing of their own. But yeah, I mean, it just depends on what they want to do too. So they're very much involved in that whole thought process.
Well,
But
you said it here. You sew, and the theme is wicked. So we're all going to be watching your Instagram for what you come up with. That's not store bought. I'm sure there's going to be a piece in there somewhere. Even if you buy something, I'm sure there's going to be something in there.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up making something because one, I'm a huge Ariana Grande fan. And two, I just love again making things. And for girls, it's more fun to create a costume because there's like all that
They're layers.
stuff. And yeah, so yeah, that's I'm looking forward.
So so Ariana fan number one.
Mhm.
Have you been to a concert?
I have not.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know
Wait a minute.
I'm a bad Ariana Grande fan, but I just said like the last few years of my life have been so involved with the kids, and my ex wasn't really like into that kind of stuff, so I kind of just stopped doing all that kind of fun stuff outside of.
You've been bumped down to fan number five. I need you to step step up here. Okay, so here's why I was asking. My husband's favorite holiday is Halloween as
Uh-huh.
well.
Uh-huh.
So so he tends to go all out with the imagination as well. He doesn't sew costumes and stuff like that, but he does our makeup,
Okay, nice.
and it tends to be like on the scary side. So if you go through my Instagram, or if you find your way to his Instagram, he has like 15,000 followers, and I'm trying to just break 1,000. So he's super popular somewhere. But he does the whole makeup, and it's scary, and he'll pick out the costume for me because I am not terribly into Halloween, but I'll get down with it if it's simple enough. But we also do like a party out in our cul-de-sac, because we have a cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
obviously. So we move all the furniture out there, and we have like the 18-foot skeletons from Home Depot, and the flames, and the lights, and we're that house that has like the full size candy bars, and so it's all like the kid stuff that we saw when we were younger.
Yeah.
We always thought the cool house was the one with like the full candy bars. So that's us, since now we're adults, and we have a 12-year-old that enjoys Halloween as well. So that's why I was asking you about Halloween and your favorite holiday.
Yeah. We do something similar. We have like our 12-foot, which is like I'm very like that's my favorite Halloween character, I guess, is a witch. So we do like this whole witch cauldron forest thing, and then on the other side is like a cemetery. So it's like, yeah, it's a
Where'd you get
weird.
the witches from?
Um, Home Depot, we got one.
Okay.
And on Amazon, we got the other a while ago. And then we have like a coyote, which we got, or not a coyote, a werewolf, sorry, from Home Depot as well. So every year we add a little bit here and there. And I love Pennywise too from the new movie. So he's thrown in there as well. We just try to do this whole little setup. Um, and a few years ago, we cleaned that house on the street. So yeah, it's a yeah, it makes it so much more fun. And my son, he's at the age now where he wants to be involved in like the scaring and stuff. So what we usually do is like we'll take them out for like an hour. I get off of work early usually if it's on a weekday, and then we'll take them out around the neighborhood, and then we'll come back home and get ready and like do this whole theatrical thing.
So, okay. So how old are your kids?
So my son is 8, my middle daughter is 6, and my youngest is 3.
Okay. So do you take your kids out while the sun is still up, or do you wait for it to be dark?
Well, the son is still up, only because we do our thing here at the house. So
Mm.
it just for us, it's easier to take them out a little earlier, come back, and then do our thing here at the house. Um, yeah, it
Does
works.
the school do something as well, like trunk or treat and all that other stuff that
No, not
that
the school. They don't. They do more of like a character story day, which they go dress up in, and it can't be scary. It's just like so. I'll find like an alternate costume, just a quick little one for them to go to school. Um, but usually, like our downtown Upland, I live in Upland. Our downtown does like a scary affair every year, which is really cool. So we take them there to do like a little trick or treating thing too. It's like it's a festival. So they get that, and then they get the 1 hour of their trick or treating here, and then the rest of the night is ours, I guess. But
All right, so last question on the topic, because I think we beat this one to death. But haunted houses. Do you go to haunted houses?
I do, I do, I love them.
D-
I,
Do you
I
do you do okay?
yeah, I love that. I like, yeah, that's like my, I look forward to that all year long. Is the Not Scary Farm, the Universal, like they're my top two favorites.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that. I've never been to the one at Knoxbury, but I've been to Universal a few times. Universal tends to be, for me, at least the few times that I've gone, it's really crowded, and it
Yes.
kind of takes away from I don't like haunted houses. I will go if Nick goes with me.
Yeah.
Like I will never go on my own. because you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you go to a haunted house and they're just rushing people through. So there's no scare factor because you saw that person jump out,
Yeah.
5 people ahead. So it's like I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And then some of them are like, no, 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 no. It's only two at a time. And they got to get all the way through the house before the next person goes. And those are the ones that I'm like, oh man, like we picked the one where they really want to scare you. Um, but Universal's fun. It's fun because all the rides are open and stuff like that. But I've found it to be a little bit on the crowded side. It's very much like get everybody through as quickly as possible. Is that the way you found it as well?
I used to up until a couple years ago. I started to go on the weekday, like either a Wednesday or a Thursday, and it's like,
Oh, they say you live in town. That's why.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But yeah, if you go on a weekday, like you can usually get on everything. I used to have to buy like the fast pass or scary pass, whatever they called it. Um, but 2 years ago, we went on a weekday, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna come on a weekday every year now because you can get on everything or get through everything in one night.
All right, guys, you heard it. You heard it here first. If you're going to Knoxbury Farms or Universal Scary, go during the week so you can get the most juice out of that squeeze. All right, Ricky. Give me your 5 minute or 5 minute, 5 second elevator pitch. Tell me who you are. How your family. I know you have 3 kids. What's the cool thing about you?
Um, well, yeah, I mean, I'm a single dad of 3 kids. Recently filed for divorce, although it's been 3 years since we've separated. But I'm just kind of excited to figure out myself as a single dad raising 3 kids, and I spend so much of my time like in kind of a disarray um, with what was going on in my life that now I'm at a place where I'm excited for my future and excited for my life with my kids and just looking forward to what's coming. Um,
So let me ask you about that if you're okay with it. And, if we get into something and you're not comfortable, please raise your hand and say no. But now that you're single, there are a lot of single dads out there, right? That are trying to navigate this journey. There's always the I'm single, but I got kids,
yeah.
right? So it's like, how do I navigate this? How do I want to navigate this? Very intentional about what I need as a human being and then what could potentially overlap with my kids. Is that something you've kind of thought about maybe in passing? I'm sure you probably haven't gone into like the depths of it, or maybe you have. But what does that look like for you?
Uh, so I after we separated, I spent a lot of time just kind of like not wanting to date, not wanting to do anything, just focusing on myself. And it was a little bit of a struggle. Um, I guess I shouldn't say I'm single. I am dating somebody in a relationship. Um,
Fair enough.
but
Fair enough.
it's we that whole thing is funny. But yeah. So I'm in a relationship, but for the longest time, I didn't want to be in a relationship because I was just kind of figuring myself out. Um, trying to
That's when relationships find you when you don't want one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Um, but I was just so like focused on trying to like fix myself and fix my life for my kids, right? So that was like my main focus, and it still is my focus and my priority. But I also learned that I need to put myself, which I didn't do for so long, at the head of being able to take care of myself, love myself, so that I can take care of my kids properly, right?
I like the way you said that because I think a lot of people don't connect the two, right? If you are more balanced as a human being, it feeds into the balance that you have being a dad. And I think there's always opportunities. Even for me, I talk about this all the time. I am learning so much because of my son. I mean, I thought I had it all together. And as soon as I had kids, it was like, okay, you're not quite there. It's
Yeah.
like all these things you thought you dealt with, welcome back. Let's deal with them again. Because it really it makes so much dimension visible that if you're not ready to deal with it, it can bleed into how you're treating your kids, how you're communicating with your kids. There are certain things that we have learned from our parents, our dads or moms, or anybody else, our experience in life as an LGBTQ individual, you know, we take the good and the bad and we pass that on,
Yeah.
and sometimes if we're not intentional, we pass on the stuff that we would have rather not pass on. So your journey to better yourself, I believe is the words you use. I think that's fantastic that you're doing that, and that you can share that. I think a lot of people need to be very honest about the fact that, hey, I'm working on myself. Whatever that looks like, don't need to go into details, but I'm working on myself. And when I'm ready, I'll let you know what that looks like, or I'm ready for the next chapter, or we can move on to something else. So speaking about that,
Hmm.
the podcast is really about understanding generational information, right? Um, your dad is the person he is because of his experience with his dad, your grandfather.
Yeah.
You are in part or in whole, right? A result of your interactions with your dad, whether you've taken all, none, or some of who he is to become who you are as a man today, and then you're taking some of that and putting that into your kids,
Yeah.
right? So what is that connection like between you and your dad? Is he still with us?
Yeah. My dad is still with us. Um, my dad and I now we have a good relationship. Not saying we never did, but it wasn't one that I would have liked as a child, only because I felt like maybe it was a lot just me mentally, but growing up in a Mexican household, uh, there's a lot of, you know, stigma with being feminine or, you know, wanting to do things that girls like, or, so it, what mine and his relationship wasn't what I would have loved it or wanted it to be. Um, so I think I know he loves me. We never said I love you to each other. We still don't as much as I would like to. Um, but I know at the end of the day, he loves me. He knows I love him. We just don't say it to each other. Like it's just kind of hard to. Randomly, once in a while, I'll say it and he'll say it back or not. But I know that's just his way of, that's just who he is, right?
Right,
Like
right.
he said, like his dad never really said it to him and he just doesn't have that connection, I guess. Um,
So do you take that and go, okay, I am now going to take that which I miss
mhm.
as a kid and make sure my kids feel that, or is that intentional on your part?
Yeah, so I definitely am trying to change that with my kids. Like I want them to know every day that I love them. So I make a point to say it to them. Sometimes once, sometimes twice, sometimes 10 times throughout the day. It just like will randomly I like say their name and sometimes they like are excited to say what, or sometimes they just like don't want to pay attention to me. But I make
Clearly.
sure that they get my attention and or I get their attention and I say it to them. Just because I want them to know. And I think it's important to like have that bond with your kids. It's like with my kids, like I can't imagine them growing up sometimes feeling the way I feel, like thinking back of my childhood. Like I wouldn't want them to have some of the thoughts that I have, right? Um, yeah, I definitely make it a point to tell them every day that I love them at least once. So
So what part of you would you say, if any, um, you get from your dad? Like what can you look at yourself and go, okay, that thing that I do, that's my dad.
yes, so I know like my dad would, if I needed something, he will be there and I can count on him to like help me or be there with me and, talk to me if I need him to. And that is definitely something I get from my dad is like, I know that I would do anything for my kids, just like he would. And it sounds kind of funny because although like we don't say I love you to each other, that's why I say like, I know that he does love me because if I need something or I need to talk about something, I can talk to him about it. Or he'll be there or help me when whatever which way I need it. Um, And I think I want to obviously like do that for my kids too. And let them know that anything you need to talk about, I want you to be able to come to me. Let's talk about it. What you need, let's do it. Um, yeah, so I think that is one thing that I do get from him is that being there for my kids is always something I'm going to do that I gain from him.
So you say your relationship with your dad is stronger now, which is good. I think all of that should really culminate in a very strong relationship at the end of the day, especially as an adult when we become more friends than we do um, son and father. What do you think was the catalyst to bring you guys closer?
So my mom passed,
Hmm.
um, and after that, my family got really close. We were distant for a bit, but after her passing, it brought us closer together. And my dad, he made it a point to go out more and do more things on his own, and reach out a little bit more. So I think that it's sad to say that that was it, but it pretty much was the like turning point for him where I think he realized like uh I need to, you know, be there more in a father figure way than that sounds kind of bad to say. But
No, I get it. He has an opportunity to pull even closer than he was before.
yeah.
Yeah, I think anyone would see that as a plus, and not necessarily a starting at a deficit for sure. All right, so you're a dad. You're part of the LGBTQ mafia. How did you come across deciding, hey, it's time to be a dad? Let's talk about that journey. What does that look like?
Um so after my ex and I got married, we got married in 2013. Um we pretty much were looking into we always knew we wanted to be parents. We always knew we wanted to be dads. Um
Was that a conversation you guys had when you first met? Like, hey, we
oh
need to,
definitely.
yeah.
But we talked about a lot of the stuff that we wanted in our life. And that was one of the main things is we want to be dads. We want to experience that whole, family dynamic and expand our family. So we got married. Maybe 3 or 4 months later, we started talking about looking into different options. Surrogacy was one. A
Oh, so this was right away. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. It
let's
all
let's
happened
go.
quickly. And I'm going to be 100% honest. When we actually started doing it all, I kind of had thoughts like, oh my God, am I really ready for this? Like, am I,
As we all do.
yeah, it just kind of like scared me to think about it. Like, I'm going to be raising this little human. And, but we looked into different options. Surrogacy was one. We did talk to some family that would carry or donate. Um, and then we looked into the foster system and then a private foster or adoption. So those are different avenues we went to different seminars. And um, ultimately, we ended up going through the county adoption, which is how we got all three of our kids. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's how that
So
all happened.
your research experience, your experience of trying to figure out which route you wanted to go, do you think that was straightforward with available information, or was that really like I have to dig for the information that I want?
No, we had to dig for stuff that we wanted. Um, actually through Instagram, we met a couple other family, two our same sex parents or two dads, that were expanding their family. So we did reach out. So Instagram was a very big help to us looking into growing our family. And we also had friends that were um, going through the same situation where they were wanting to, starting to adopt family or starting to adopt kids or expanding their families. So we were able to, go to them. But as far as research goes, there wasn't a whole lot available to us. We kind of just had to figure things
Hmm.
out as we go. Um, Thankfully, like with the county of San Bernardino, which is the adoption county that we went through, they were they actually made it quite. Once we got the process rolling, they were actually available to speak to about things and how processes were going to go and how things were going to happen. Um, our social worker though wasn't the greatest, but aside from her, everything else pretty like there,
Oh, there's a story there.
there is.
Dun
Oh,
dun.
so so I just I yeah, but ultimately
She's not gonna hear this. Let's hear it.
probably not. There were just situations that didn't make sense to us where she would come back with information that either she kind of contradicted herself with what she was saying. Ultimately, we feel like it was a bias because we
Mm.
we males, two dads trying to adopt a child. And talking to other families that have worked with her, they felt the same. Um,
Oh, that's
Ultimately, though,
unfortunate.
like our journey with our adoption didn't go through her. It ended up going through a different social worker through a different county. So we got very lucky how our situation happened. Um, so yeah,
So the adoption process is this so we got our son Jacob is 12 now, but we did foster to adopt
uh
through the state. Is that the same process?
yeah. So
Okay.
when we were placed with our children, they were all infants, newborns. Um, but yeah, we fostered them for 6 to 9 months. And then we were finally able to get approval to adopt, and then we went through the adoption process. So yeah, foster to adopt was the same thing.
That I think that's amazing. My heart always goes out to people who do foster to adopt or are foster parents
Mm,
to begin with because it's really an opportunity to support kids who are either in the system or about to be in the system and be in a position to provide them with a forever home, right?
yeah.
With our son, it was the same situation. We've had him since he was 4. So when we did the foster to adopt, our process was very smooth.
Hmm.
But I also know that that's not the case for everyone. We did experience, some biases up front. When we got the first listing of, go find an agency to get certified for the adoption process.
Uh-huh.
I would say 9 out of 10 of them would not have accepted us as an LGBTQ couple here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Um, I want to think that that's a little bit different in California because California is progressive, right? So I don't know what that would look like. You'd have to tell me. But here in Arizona, at the time, it was a very red state. We're purple-ish now. But they weren't very open to being able to, a lot of, Christian families, and we're only, that kind of rhetoric
Yeah.
is what we heard. But once we found that one agency that was willing, they were like, "Hey, we just need families. Come as you are. If you pass all our backgrounds and certifications, and let's go. Like, who cares?"
Yeah.
And that's what we really kind of loved about the process. And I would say we got introduced to Jacob probably a good 5 months later, and we've had him ever since.
Nice.
And it's been such an amazing journey. It's been challenging. It's been hard, not necessarily because of him, but because we are again rediscovering ourselves
Yeah.
as parents, as individuals, and trying to make sure we're always carving out those spaces, right? We are people, we're dads, yes, but we also, have work and we have friends, and now our friend bubble looks a little bit different because we have kids, and
Yeah.
are they okay with the dynamic? Yeah, we got to be home at 10. Sorry, like
Yeah.
that's the new normal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a big change when it comes to having kids. And it's,
Wait, so you don't go party anymore?
uh, no, I don't party, but I do make time to go out with my friends. That is one of the big changes that I made in my separation. Is like, I know that um, I need to have me time sometimes, and my friends, I kind of lost them in my marriage. So going back to like discovering myself and who I am as a person, obviously, like I need my friends. I need to be able to, whether it's just talk on the phone, go out for coffee, go out for a drink, dinner, like I need to make time for them as well. Um, so that is one thing that I've been very grateful for in this whole separation, divorce is being able to reconnect with friends that, I might have not been so connected with over the last few years. Um,
So with that in mind, are you expanding your friend bubble, your community, if you will, to include other gay parents so
oh
that
yeah,
your kids can also see, hey, this exists outside of this house?
yes, yes. So that was one thing that my ex and I, did do when we first started looking into adoption is like, okay, now, so since this is going to happen, we obviously need friends with kids too. So that way we can get together with the kids and go out and do things together as a family, as, and then plus, like, I wanted my kids to grow up in an environment where they see, like, oh, there's two mom families or, two dad families that are different than ours. Um, Also straight families with friends. Like, we actually like I think we have a good group of friends that have, kids that we can reach out to and talk to. Thankfully, we've been able and blessed with that. Uh, to make friends that have kids and go out and do things together, whether it's just walking to downtown to the farmer's market or, play dates. It's something that we wanted in our kids' lives. So we continue to do that, whether it's separate or together. Um, we still make it a point to have our family days. So Saturdays are usually like our family days. So we'll go together to the farmer's market, take them out to breakfast, lunch, do something together so that that way they know like we are in a good place. And yeah, I even like with my partner and my ex's new partner, like we all do things together with our old friends, new friends. It's just
Or you're going to be in each other's lives forever.
yeah,
So it sounds like you guys have found the happy medium to co-parent, which is respectable because not all situations happen to resolve that way.
yeah, yeah. We That was one thing that when we separated, although we weren't always on good terms, we got past our hurdles and figured things out about each other and ourselves and going forward. That ultimately, like we decided to bring these kids into our lives. And going forward, it's not fair to them to disrupt their life because you and I didn't work out. So we want to make it you know, as family oriented as we can. So that way they know that they have us still at the end of the day. Whether it's apart, together, they can still have that sense of family that they can rely on in the future. Whether it's me and partner. Um,
So
I
knowing that your kids are getting older in age, right? Your son's 8 years old, where his understanding of the world is a lot broader than your younger kids. w- Have you come across circumstances where you're now having to either explain the family dynamic, the fact that you are LGBTQ, or how? Let me rephrase it. We spent some time with our son explaining to him what our family dynamic is and why people may have questions about it and how to correctly respond to that without being aggressive or defensive or some people have things to say that are not nice. Kids are kids. They repeat things that they hear from other adults. So it's important to make sure that he understands their thoughts and their opinions is not something we consume.
Mhm.
So do you have you had an opportunity to have those kind of conversations with your kids? Are they kind of bringing those questions to you now?
No, like I haven't had that experience with my son as of yet. Um, I think about that though. Um, I think about that when it's going to happen or how am I going to respond. Um,
You
Recently,
have your speech. You have your speech ready.
I'm not ready completely yet. I'm still trying to process it. But recently, like his class asked for a family picture, and we sent a picture of me, my ex, and the three kids. And um, after we sent it, because it's in a classroom app, um, the first thought in my head was, okay, so is another parent going to say something about our family, and then their child's going to go to school and say this or repeat what they said, and then my son's going to come home and say like, oh, this is what I heard or blah blah blah. Like that was a thought in my head. It hasn't happened, thankfully, but it's something I do think about, um, and I worry about. Um, I shouldn't worry about it, but I do because I just don't want. I mean, kids are kids, yes, but I know that a lot of their thoughts and what they say comes from home and their family dynamic. Um, so like I don't ever want. I fear. I guess I fear the day, especially in today's climate. Like I just fear the day that my kid comes home saying something that like might change his thought process or, you know, make him think a certain way about us as a family. Like,
So I think your fear is valid, and here's why I say that. I've had the same thought myself.
mhm,
And it's not necessarily because us as adults, we've been through it. You know, we've been through the machine. Like someone comes at us, we're ready, right?
yeah,
But we are always, or I speak for myself, I'm always trying to protect my kid from that bigoted idiot that's going to ask the question,
yeah,
right? And if they come home and they go, you know, Timmy said our family is wrong, now you have to try to justify why that's not true, and it kind of puts you on your heels. It's like you're part of this family, you know it's not wrong, but someone said something, and because you're in school, there is that additional layer of trying to be cool, of trying to be accepted, of trying, you know, so it's kind of like threading the needle. Now you have to explain to them what having a thick skin looks like, and what, you know, you don't have to puff up and be ready to fight somebody because someone said something about your dad's like, let them, you know, speak. And it's hard for people, it's hard for adults to do that, to let people say whatever they want and turn the other cheek. So the expectation that we have for our kids to be able to deal with that when it happens is kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen because you won't be there
yeah,
when it does. You know, you'll hear about it after the fact. So I empathize with that feeling that you're having because I've had it before. And we've had that conversation because people have asked the questions, people have said things, and he'll tell us. He's very open and direct with us, and he'll come home and say, "Hey, something happened at school today. Let me tell you about it, and this is how I handled it, or didn't handle it, or whatever that was." So it could be a teaching moment, or it could be, "Nice job, you did that well." So it's kind of like a mixed bag. You never know what you're gonna get.
yeah.
But I did want to say, I don't know if you're following social media, but you know the whole incident with Snoop Dogg in a movie theater. Did you?
I saw that. Yeah,
Oh my God! I
yeah,
you know it. I wanted to just kind of go crazy because I'm on Threads as well, and that's where I kind of put all my little thoughts that I wouldn't necessarily put on Instagram because I'm trying to do something different on Instagram. But that I don't understand. It's like LGBTQ has been around for more than a year,
mhm,
right? And it's been out there in pop culture. It's been everywhere. Snoop Dogg certainly has been exposed to this at, you know, different levels, being in the limelight, being in the music industry, in the television industry. I mean, just in the television industry alone, you come across so many LGBTQ people as executives, as hairdressers, as, you know, your producers. So it's like, how can you not be ready to have that conversation, even if it's just different families in this world. We just need to, you know. So, do you have any thoughts on that? Did you have the same? I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one that had that type of reaction, to be quite honest.
um, it's not that I. Well, I when I read it, I was just like, oh, n yeah, like you said, going back to like he's been exposed to all this, like it kind of baffled me a little bit to be like, oh, well, how do you not know how to respond to that? And, like,
And be upset enough about it to put it out somewhere.
yeah, that was a little much. But I mean, I guess I don't know. I honestly I haven't really thought about Snoop Dogg in so long. So like for this,
You better delete all his music now. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do
uh,
that.
but it's just
Have you been to a Snoop Dogg concert though?
I have not.
Okay, if you had been and not Ariana, then yeah.
No, I haven't. Yeah, it is ridiculous the response and how it's like he's out there talking about it. Um, you know,
I only say that, I mean, he doesn't rise to the level of importance in my life. I only say that because we were talking about how kids interact at school, and it's the same thing. Kids ask
yeah,
questions about things, and we need to be prepared as adults to be able to answer that in a way that's informative
yeah,
and not disparaging to whatever the situation is, depending on what you're trying to teach your kid. Like, especially with politics, you know, at 8, 9, 10. our kids are starting to understand a little bit about the rhetoric for politics, not necessarily how it works. And they know we vote for certain people, and they know Donald Trump specifically talks and says things that are very strange in this world. Um, my kid knows we don't support Donald Trump. We respect Democrats, we respect Republicans. We love to hear their opinions, their thoughts, sure. Donald Trump specifically, we're not a fan.
So,
But we're also respectful of the fact that others are. Does that mean we need to chase him down and throw him to the? No, that's not what we do as a family. So we have to explain it to him because he has friends at school that are always like, you don't support Donald Trump, so you must be blah blah blah. So it's like, hey, listen, everybody's got their own opinion. Let's leave it there. Those are adult conversations. Let's just leave that over there in that corner, and you just focus on school
yeah,
currently.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we have uh, family that doesn't agree with certain things, and have made comments about our grooming kids, and it's unfortunate, but we don't we also, like you said, like, we respect other people's opinions and theirs. Do we necessarily agree with this person? No, on a lot of levels, but we respect people's differences when it comes to being a Republican, being a Democrat. Like, it's just people have different opinions. It's sad to the extreme that it's gotten. Um, but yeah, I don't think my son realizes that yet. He hasn't had exposure to it to where he like remembers this or that, or it affects him in a way. Um, but yeah, and like, well, I guess when it comes to family, it has affected him because we don't see certain people anymore because of their, you know, thoughts of
But he doesn't know that. That's
he
just
can
something you've
that.
intentionally done.
Yeah, we've just done that because we just felt that it was best for our family to not associate with them.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I hear your kids in the background.
Yeah, my daughter's at the door trying to trying to. Yeah.
If you need to take 5 minutes to address that, feel
No,
free.
she's good. She's my ex is out there with her, so
Okay, fair enough. All right. So, what are your biggest concerns now that your kids are in school, they're growing up, they're starting to plug in more? What are some of your fears that you have for your kids?
um the fears I have for them are more like one thing that like does scare me every year for them to go back to school is this whole shooting thing. Like, it's just every year the school starts, I'm like, I get a little anxious at that. And obviously there was one that happened yesterday, which, you know, um is sad. And it's just that's one of the things that scares me with them going to school. Aside from that, being bullied, like, because my oldest two are autistic. Um and I've, growing up gay is not the easiest. Um, so trying to like think about what I went through as a child with bullying and stuff, like, I don't want them to experience that. Thankfully, they haven't had any issues, and I talk to them every day. They come back from home from school. I always ask them, "How was your day? Where did you have fun? What did you do?" And I do ask them, "Oh, were people nice to you?" Like, just to see what they say, because I feel like the only way I'm gonna know if something is happening is if I ask them and they tell me. And I think right now that they're at an age where they will be honest with me and tell me. Um, so I mean, aside from those two things that I'm afraid of for them or kind of worries me, I mean, other than that, I want them to go out and be their own little people and socialize and grow and learn and just I
And get a job and start paying rent.
yeah, and support me.
Fair enough. All right. So, do you have a routine when I know you said you ask them questions every now and again, but is that like a daily, like, how was school? You're like peeling the layers back. How was the day? How are you feeling? How are things going? And I ask that because not a lot of parents do that.
Mhm.
Not a lot of parents know how to do that. A lot of parents are very much about the close-ended questions. Did you have a good day at school? Yes. And then that's it. Um, my husband and I try our best we're not always successful at it, but we try our best to do open-ended questions. What did you learn at school
Yeah,
today? Did you learn anything today that you did not learn yesterday? Because the answer is always, "Oh, school's boring."
yeah.
Or so it's like, okay, but did you learn anything? No. Oh, how is that possible? Like, let's step through that a second.
Yeah. Usually that's our dinner conversation is we'll sit down. I'll ask each and every one of them, how was your day at school? What did you learn? What did you do? What was fun? And then I ask them, nice. And I ask each one of them. And at the end, they always ask me, like, how was your day at work? And what did you do? So it's like a little conversation we have during dinner. It's that's our little routine for dinner. Um,
What if they say someone was not nice to me? What are you gonna do?
Then I'll investigate a little further, ask them, and then reach out to their teacher and figure out what's going on. Um, I,
Pitchforks, tiki torches,
yeah,
it's happening.
no, I'm like, yeah, I definitely will get like uh at the moment, but I know that like I need to like they can say one thing and it might not be 100% true, so I do have to investigate before I like react, right? So thankfully they haven't yet, but although no, last year my daughter there was like a few weeks into school, and I guess somebody pushed her off the tricycle she was using. And she told me that at the end of the day, like when we were talking, and I was like, oh my God, like this child, and blah, blah, blah. So then we reached out to the teacher, and I guess it was a whole accident thing that happened where he accidentally bumped into her and she fell off. And so
Oh, a minor detail.
yeah, that she left out, right? But that's why I'm like, yeah, like if they tell me something, then like, yeah, I can't be Papa Bear and be like, okay, this is it. Like, I got to go to that school, march down, figure things out. My ex though, he's the first one to be like, okay, we got to like blow everything up. Um,
On fire.
yeah, he's down. He's the one with the pitchfork at the door, in the principal's office. They love him.
So
Um,
what I will say is growing up in high school, one of the things my dad, and he probably doesn't even remember, but one of the things my dad told me was, if I ever get a call from the school, you need to be right. And that was it. So I took that and I rocked with it. And every time something was out of order at school, I was waiting for someone to step out of line, because especially if teachers were being unusually mean to me for whatever reason, and they were like, "Well, if you don't do this, I'm going to call your dad." And I would look at them and go, "Please do,
yeah,
because I know I'm right here. So please do." Because my dad has always been the kind of guy that if I get a call from the school and you're right, I will be there in 5 minutes and it's going down. Not necessarily physically, but I'm there to fight for you. I'm your advocate. We're gonna get this sorted out, but you need to be right. Now, if you were wrong and you were just misbehaving and causing issues, and I get a call, then I mean that's gonna be a whole different story, right? So I tell that to my son. He's 12. And we actually had this conversation last week again, because I try to remind him every time he comes home with a story. I was like, hey, your story needs to be accurate. Okay. You cannot omit the beginning or the end, because if someone did something to you, if they pushed you down and they were being physical with you for whatever reason, and you're coming to me going, Dad, this happened, I'm going to go to the school and I'm going to ask some really tough questions. But you need to be right. Because if I go there and say this happened to you and you didn't start something and I learned different, I'm the one that's going to look like a fool. And then the next time I go up there, it's going to be less impactful. So he knows I'm I'm the button you press when you really need someone in your corner, but you need to really think about what corner you need me in.
yeah,
Like, don't just be pressing buttons.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't work that way.
We teach our kids to be truthful, and you know, that's one thing.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I guess when it comes to certain things, I don't know.
That arc
Well,
is really high. It takes forever to get on the other side of that truth meter. For I don't know why kids are very creative. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's like, geez, like I just tell me the truth and we'll
yeah,
be good. please?
I guess.
All right. So have you guys thought about relocating at all? Has that ever been an option? I know you guys live in an area that is very progressive, and to move to like, you know, South Dakota wouldn't be beneficial unless it was for work or something. But have you ever like, hey, I want to move to Mexico, or we're gonna move to Acapulco, or
About moving to Mexico.
oh, okay, I hit it on the head. I didn't know about that, but let's do it.
We have talked about that if we have to. But aside from living here, Upland's not not as progressive as you think. Um,
Okay,
so
well, reset my mind because I think the default is California is progressive, regardless of where you are in the country. Somewhere like New York, Houston, California are more progressive than where we are.
yeah, I think California as a whole is more progressive, but certain cities are not, and Upland is one of those that are not. Um, I haven't, thankfully, I haven't had any issues. I mean, we've had some, I guess, disagreements with neighbors. Um, but aside from that, like, I, I mean, the only other place I have thought of moving to is like Sacramento, Palm Springs. Um,
Oh, Palm Springs in the middle of the desert. Jeez.
well, I know, but every time I'm out there, I'm like, God, the weather's unbearable, but you can acclimate, right?
But that's you as an adult. Those kids are gonna be like, "Where are we?"
Yeah, but I mean, they'll settle in and acclimate too. Um,
Your kids are resilient. I get it. All right, all right. Do you see, just in passing, you can yes or no, given the political climate that we're in, we see a lot of interesting things on the news with how non-Americans are seen. I'm from Panama, so I'm Latino by nature. I was a naturalized U.S. citizen, but I have family that's still just residents, right? And that's permanent U.S. legal residents. But there's still a concern from them about getting tripped up in some of these things, and that's always a concern for me. They are adults. My kids are not in any danger of that, but I'm always like, people that I know come across and they have kids, and it's just such a weird place to be in our history.
mhm.
Have you seen any of that like in your geographical area? I mean, the last time I was out in LA, I was in Orange County and they were doing the No Kings um what do you call it? Say again?
The protest.
Yes, the protest.
Uh-huh.
So that again, that was another opportunity because Jacob was like, "Oh, what's going on?" So now we have to explain that to him
Yeah,
in a way that he understands what's happening because it's unavoidable. You can't really shroud that and go, "Oh, forget about that." It's happening. You can see it. That's strange. You don't see a group of people on the sidewalk in the street causing traffic jams with signs and you don't explain that to your kid. So,
yeah. Um, we haven't experienced that going out here. Um, so we haven't had to explain that to him. I myself, though, do think of the fear of that having or happening because, yes, I am a minority in a lot of ways. Mexican, I'm gay, I adopted children, they have special needs. So there's so much going on that, like, the normal person, I guess, wouldn't understand. And those are little fears. Like, there's been times where I love to go running, but there's times where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should go running today, especially when things are so like heavy in the political sense or news. Like maybe I should just skip my run and do my bike or cycling or stay in. Um, and I just yeah, it makes me sad to think about. Um,
yeah, it is an interesting. I use the word interesting because I just don't know what else to say about it. It's just it's a scary time to be rolling around in this. Anyway, to a more happier topic. Um, Last question here. What would you say to someone who is thinking about being a parent? Is it for everyone? They should run and jump into it.
um, it's not for everyone. That's for sure. It's not for everyone. But if you are wanting to look into it and do it wholeheartedly. And you're going to experience the great times, you're going to experience lows. But at the end of the day, just enjoy it and relish in every moment that you can because it flashes by in an instant. Like they, yeah, they say, it goes by so fast and it really, truly does.
They want your attention.
But yeah, definitely do it wholeheartedly and just give it your all because being a parent, like it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of
And patience.
and patience, and it's all worth it at the end of the day.
You're gonna be stitching their boutonnieres together for their prom, and like
Yeah,
you blink twice and we're there.
I'm gonna. Yeah, yeah. I think about it's crazy to think about friends and like people I've known for so long and their kids like already graduating and doing this and getting married, and I'm like, I remember the day I brought my son home and now he's 8 years old and his own little person. He's becoming his own little man. Like I look at him and I'm like, how did you get this age? And there's glimpses I take of him that he still looks like that little boy that like I just it's crazy. It's all crazy.
I stare at pictures that I have behind me. You can't see it, but not behind me, but in front of me, I guess. I have a giant TV screen and it's Apple TV, so it plays a screensaver of like photos, and it's all like Jacob through the years.
Uh
So every now and again, I catch myself, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this big smile pops on my face because he's like 4 or 5 years old, and it's so adorable and it's so cute. He's 12 now. It's not. Yeah,
yeah.
those days are gone. He is quite the active. He's an extreme extrovert.
Oh, nice.
So and Nick and I are kind of in the middle.
Uh-huh.
But we lean more introvert. You know, we can turn it on when we need to, but we're like we need to recharge. We want quiet. We need a spot. Not Jacob. He recharges being in your face. So that's part of the struggle.
Yeah. I would say I'm more of an introvert too, more introvert sided. Like I think having kids though has made me pull myself out more a little bit. Like, there's certain situations that I might be put in that I like need to be out there and just like, but yeah, my youngest is actually the one that's more extroverted. She's all over the place and everything. She just wants to be involved. Like she's that little, social person, social butterfly that just
She's
I love.
pulling in all the strangers. You're like, stop talking to people.
Yeah, yeah, like no, she's that person. She'll run up to people, say hi, give them a hug, and my other two, like it takes them some time to warm up to people, which it's okay. That's who they are. That they're people.
Yeah,
That's their
we need those.
that is. Yeah. But the little one, like she definitely pulls me out of my shell more than yeah. So and
Well,
I
that's awesome.
love
They're changing us.
yeah, definitely. Like you that is one thing too, is like they're gonna definitely change you as a person. For the better, you're gonna learn a lot from.
Yeah, you're. I mean, whether you want to or not, it's gonna happen because they're here and they're not going anywhere. I was gonna say they're here and they're queer, but that's not right.
Not that it's right, because at the end of the day, I always think my kids are who they are. They're gonna be who they wanna be. And I think that's one of the beautiful things of being a gay parent is like I want my kids to be happy, comfortable with who they are. Whether you love a male, female, I don't care. Just I want you to be you. And I love that we, as LGBTQ people, are open minded about that. And they grow up with that sense of, it's just about love for me and who I love doesn't matter. It's, we're a family unit and, you know, with our friends, with family, it's just they get to experience multiple people's lives, not just, I don't want to say closed minded, but one belief, I guess, is
As being normal, it's just an
yeah,
everyday thing. Yeah, it's just yeah. I think that's part of the intentionality that a lot of our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, if you will, have going into parenthood. They get to start that journey with that open mindedness, and it's just kind of it just is. It's just there, um, as opposed to what we had to go through. Or most of us, not all of us, right, had to go through and trying to learn ourselves
yeah,
to then be who we are today, so that we get to hopefully help them skip
Yeah,
that journey.
definitely.
All right, Ricky, listen, this was fantastic. I appreciate you taking the time right after work to chat with us. I know the kids are vibing for your attention, and everybody on the podcast can hear them knocking at the door. I love that though. They're like, where are you at? You're quiet for too long. So I know you've got other things to do with them today. So I appreciate your time.
Well, no, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So
Yeah, listen, we're looking forward to seeing Halloween. It's right around the corner, so
I'm
no pressure.
gonna start September 1st. So
Oh wow.
that's when the holidays start.
That's gonna be
I
amazing.
know.
That's gonna be crazy.
I kind of see it like in a sense too, like it is my happiness too. So it'll bring some sort of happiness in all this craziness that's going on right now. So
Yeah, yeah. Why not? Why not? If you can put a little bit of joy back in this world, then you've done your deed for today.